What the fuck is up, guys? I'm Max, and this is Tanner.
Hola.
Welcome back to the studio.
Ooh,
it's great to have you.
The studio. Very nice.
And this is, ladies and gentlemen, episode 40.
40.
Which is like 4 tens, which is kind of a lot.
Actually, is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Like, not even as a joke. 40 is a lot. 40 is a pretty big number.
How have we even talked about 40 things?
We haven't, technically.
Because
we have done...
That's a good point.
Have we done multiple parters? JFK for sure.
Yeah, JFK, and then I think we've done a couple other... Like, Ted Bundy was part 2.
Oh, you're right.
And then I think there was a couple more. Son of Sam, maybe?
I don't think Son of Sam was. But no, we've had a couple.
There were more, yeah.
Either way, that we've talked for like almost or over. So probably averaging up to like an hour, 40 separate occasions. Or 39, about to be 40.
Yeah.
I remember when I was like editing the intro for this one, and I was like deleting 39 and typing in 40, it like hit me. I was like, that's a lot. It's like, that's a large number.
That's way more than I expected.
We're slowly creeping towards 2 years.
We are.
2 years worth of episodes.
Yeah.
It's only 12 more.
We gotta like save up something good for that one.
Oh, true. We should save up something good for that one. But like a one-parter though.
Yeah. You know what I'm very curious about is if we did like a random, like every now and then we just did a random one-off episode where we just like bullshit or like tell stories, something that's not necessarily like a mystery or a conspiracy. If people would listen to that, or if they would just, if a lot of our audience is very like, don't waste my time.
Yeah, I mean, knowing our audience, I think
That's
they love to have their time wasted. Because, well, what are they doing when they listen to this anyways? Even when it's a real story, we're wasting their fucking time, let's be honest.
I did have one person listen to it, and they were like, I hate this, because you guys...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when they listen to podcasts that are like mysteries and shit like this, they want just the facts straight into it. And they're like, you guys spend so much time just like BSing at the beginning.
So they want to be more like...
They want like
news,
just
I guess?
Straight documentary style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of boring, though.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of get from a listener perspective, if you're here for, like, a specific story, but from a recorder perspective, first off, that's way less fun. And also, like, a listener of other podcasts, I don't, like, seek out things. I have people that I like to listen to because they're funny and interesting, and then they do stories that, like, are also interesting.
Yeah,
but it's more about them, like...
Yeah, I'm there for the entertainment value.
And I know I've talked about this one a bunch, but the last podcast on the left's like dynamic between the people is really good. And like the stuff they talk about is also very interesting, obviously, but like I like that they bullshit. Like it's funny to me. It's more of an entertainment value as opposed to like I'm looking for like information.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's okay. I have more fun like this.
Yeah. And honestly, if people have listened to 40 episodes by now, I gotta believe that they're on board with that too.
Yeah. Maybe we should cut that out so they don't get any other ideas. All of a sudden, we just get like 50 messages in our Instagram that's like, actually, we would prefer that.
Actually, yeah.
Actually, can you guys totally change up what you're doing? We kind of hate it now that you've mentioned it once.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
We have a couple things to intro talk about. Okay. First off, drinks.
Drinks. All right, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking your Miller Lite, and there's a story behind it. Cheers. Bottom cheers. What do you have?
I have a Union Jack, which is a West Coast IPA from Firestone.
You an IPA?
Yeah. I didn't buy it.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking this Miller Lite. Now, there's anything wrong with Miller Lite?
There is.
You said it, not me. Sponsor me, Miller Lite.
Just Tanner, though.
Yeah, just me. I'll be decked out in like their merch, and you'll just be over there looking like a fucking poor. But so I grabbed a Blue Moon that someone left at our fridge after a party not that long ago, like maybe a month and a half.
About then, yeah.
I think it was like, probably about a month and a half, if that. And someone left.
Actually, no, I think it was like the first weekend in March. So not even a month.
Not even, so like, let's just call it a month. It was the first weekend or like the last weekend of February. And it was like one of my buddies brought some Blue Moons and he left them here. So they're just mine now because that's how it works.
Yep.
Everybody knows that.
We provide a venue, they provide leftover drinks.
Or not. They can take them if they want, but if they don't take them,
fair game.
They become the houses.
Yes.
So I grabbed one of those and it'd been kind of like laying on its side. And I opened it and we're sitting here and there was like a thing. I don't even know what to call it.
A mass.
Yeah, like
a glob.
Yeah, something had like built up basically. I was like, oh, I don't really want to drink that. So I had another one, poured it out. There was another one in there. Had like the same thing, but like kind of more spotty. And I was like, okay. So then I grabbed another beer that I've had for a while that I kind of forgot that I had, to be honest with you. It was in the back of the fridge. Really good sour beer. It's called Sour Monkey. It is sitting right there if you're watching the YouTube. It's next to the TV. delicious, but I've had them for a while because I kind of forgot about them. And it's a sour beer with 9.5% alcohol, so it's like it's gonna taste a little bit funky if you don't like sour beers, but like kind of like you tried it and you kind of said what I was thinking, like it's more sour than taste.
Like it lost the flavor behind the sour, and now it's just sour.
So I think it might also be bad.
Yeah.
So I'm not drinking that, and then I didn't want to go back downstairs, and Max was like, "I have a Miller Lite," and I was like, "I will take it.
Best I can do.
I'll take you up on that offer." But that's my beer story. So, would you like to plug the Instagram, and then I'll get into a different thing.
Allow me. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know the drill. Follow us on Instagram at the.rabbithole.pod. There you can find our links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and...
So the link isn't in there yet.
Oh, it's not. Never mind.
No.
All right,
they're reverse linked.
Okay.
But we now have a TikTok page under the same name, the.rabbithole.pod.
TikTok.
I have not made any posts yet. I made the page last night. But I'm going to try to start posting.
Hell yeah.
For fun. I don't know. It's TikTok, you know what I mean? I don't really fucking know what to do yet. But we've been talking about making like a Twitter and stuff like that and all that shit. And we were like, well, I was at work the other day, like in a meeting that was not interesting. And I was just like, what if we made a TikTok? I was like, that's kind of like the hop in social media right now.
Yeah.
So I made the page. The page has links to the YouTube and to the Instagram. I haven't put the TikTok's link into the link tree on Instagram yet. But the TikTok is linked to the Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. I still need to do that.
All right.
Which I plan on doing, but I totally forgot to do. But that exists now, under the same name as the Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to start making posts, hopefully sometime in the next week.
It's definitely easier to upload those than a YouTube video.
Yeah,
it takes
for real.
like 7 hours.
Because something I thought about was we could take clips from this and use it on there. But I think we need to turn the phone the other way for them to be useful. Or either that or it'd be on one person and it'd be on another person, which is not a big deal. But either way, we're gonna try. I just need to figure out how to make TikToks. I've never made one before. But I went on my own personal TikTok and typed in creepy in the search bar, and then just sent myself a bunch of things, or sent the podcast's TikTok page a bunch of things to use the sounds that they used.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of sounds that we can pick from now if we want to post a video that's not us talking, but of things.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I guess you guys will see the process that we
of us not knowing how to make TikToks.
Yeah. And figuring it out as we go.
Yeah. Do we want to get into it?
Let's get into it.
But we also I think we mentioned this last time, so we bring it up. We have not yet emailed the ad guy back.
Oh my god, yeah, I was going to do that, and then I meant to ask Tanner, and Tanner was gone, and I totally forgot, and that was 2 weeks ago.
I feel like we should email him back.
We should, yeah.
Yeah, what was your question?
I was just going to say, hey, what are you interested in sponsoring?
Oh, to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we should say, what are you advertising?
Yeah.
And then you could honestly just be like, you'd be our first ad, are you looking for us to do a readout? Are you looking for a canned thing? Or
I'd ask some follow-up questions. Are you looking for us to plug something, or do you have a script that you want us to read?
Yeah, a canned thing, or we just kind of bring it up.
Yeah. I'm still going to maintain there's a good to fair chance that this...
It's a scam?
Yeah.
It's a scam, or
for somehow I don't know.
I don't know why you would reach out to us to do a scam.
Yeah,
we get less than 100 listens an episode.
What I'm confused about is he's like, hey, let me sponsor your episode.
Right.
If you're offering to give us something,
usually they pay the podcaster to do that.
Yeah.
So how are you scamming me? I don't know. Obviously, if he asks for bank account information to send the money to, that's how it's a scam.
You can have my PayPal. That's it.
That's the only way I can think about it being a scam is if they're give me your account number so I can put money into it. Okay, now we can start. So
yes, all right.
You want to introduce the topic?
Yeah. Should I just dive into the intro too?
Yeah, that works.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am not sure if you've heard of Lizzie Borden, but in case you haven't, she was basically tried for the murder of her two parents. With an axe in 1892.
Oh,
not sure what else to get into here.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil everything.
Yeah, carried away.
But that's basically that's a good intro.
Yeah,
that's who she was. Because I didn't know this name super well. I've heard it before. I didn't really know it all that well. But
I kind of just knew the headline, but nothing else.
Same. That's what I mean. I knew That basically what you said. Like,
Yeah.
So we're gonna hop into it.
All
Early
right.
life,
Oh, baby.
as does things go.
As does things do.
As does do things.
As does do
So
things.
Lizzie
Things.
Borden, whose
Words.
middle name was Andrew.
What?
Lizzie Andrew
As in
Borden.
her fucking dad?
Oh yeah, but
Jesus.
you'll hear a theme here.
Okay.
Lizzie Andrew Borden
Oh my god.
was born.
No wonder.
She was born in Fall River, Massachusetts, in July of 1860. Her parents were Sarah Anthony Borden
Oh my god.
and Andrew Jackson Borden.
Was Anthony her grandpa's name?
I assume
I
so.
would imagine.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah, so quite the names. And then Andrew Jackson Borden. Her
My name's
dad,
Andrew.
Andrew
My name's Jackson. Andrew Jackson. What? Andrew Jackson Borden.
Borden. So her dad grew up in like kind of modest surroundings and sort of struggled financially when he was younger. But his parents were actually like pretty wealthy and influential. So like struggle is in quotation marks. Like he struggled, but you know,
Okay.
one of those things where like always knew he had the fallback type of shit.
Is that like where, I bet like all I needed to start my $1 billion company was $1 million loan from my dad?
Right. Like I don't know if it was quite like that, but
Okay.
like yeah.
Like he struggled, but like.
But not struggled like a lot of people
If you were
didn't.
starving, like you'd have a.
In the fucking 1800s.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So eventually, Andrew found success manufacturing and selling furniture and caskets before getting into the property development game. From there,
What a terrible bout of foreshadowing.
yeah. From there, he directed multiple textile mills and owned a bunch of like commercial property. He was the president of Union Savings Bank and the director of the Durfee Safe Deposit and Trust Co. When he died, his estate was valued at around $300,000, which is $9 million in
that's a
2020
fuck ton.
money. Yeah, $9 million. So all this goes to show what you can accomplish if you have rich parents. Is basically what I took out of that.
If you claw your way to the top and also have rich parents.
Yeah, like he probably should have had more, honestly. So clearly wealthy. This is just kind of like setting up her, I guess, early life, knowing about her parents a little bit, or I guess her dad. He was actually like kind of cheap though, even though he had money.
I did hear that.
Yeah. So one example being that his like own house that he lived in with his family didn't have indoor plumbing, which was a very common thing at the time for like wealthier people. Not for everybody, but for people like with his money.
Oh, it was like common to have it.
Yeah,
Okay.
like common to have it for people with that kind of money.
Right. Okay.
Didn't have it though. He also didn't live in like the nicest part of the area he was from. Still a nice part. Like he didn't live in like a shitty area. But he had family that lived in a nicer area in the same town.
Okay.
And he chose not to do that. So it was like, he's kind of a cheap guy. Like, cheaping out on the stuff that I feel like was super nice. Like, oh, maybe don't buy expensive clothes. That's fine. But like, indoor plumbing would probably be super nice.
That seems like a very marketable improvement
Yeah.
in just your life quality.
Yeah, so I don't know about the dad. Just kind of wanted to establish, like, they had money, but like, didn't really experience it as much as their family did, probably. So just kind of wanted to establish that.
Okay.
So Lizzie and her older sister Emma actually had a pretty religious upbringing, which is normal for the time. Gross, but normal. So that explains what happens later. They were religious. Doesn't like a child kill their parent in the Bible or something like that? I don't know.
What?
I assume that happens.
Oh, I have no idea.
That just sounds like something that would happen in like old times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. As a young woman, Lizzie was very involved in church things. Like she taught Sunday school to kids of recent immigrants to the U.S., which I kind of hate because it's
That's,
like they probably weren't Christian.
It's a very American sentence.
Yeah, like kind of like the whole like mission, like people go on missions, like they go to places where people aren't Christian.
Yeah.
And they're like, we'll build you a school if you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Like,
Yeah.
we don't really care about you. We just want more people to join our cult. So anyways, that's what she was doing.
Do you feel strongly about this?
No, I actually don't have opinions. She also served as the treasurer for a religious society and was a member of a bunch of other religious bullshit. I didn't write them all down because I didn't know what they meant, nor did I care. Basically, very religious.
All right.
So Sarah died. Lizzie's mom, sorry.
Okay.
Lizzie's mom died at some point. And then 3 years later, her dad married Abby Durfee Gray.
Durfee.
Yeah. So Lizzie called her stepmom Mrs. Borden, and believed Abby had married her father for his wealth, which is funny because like didn't really use it that much, but that'll be a little contentious later. So they didn't really have a great relationship, at all. They didn't really get along at all.
Okay.
The family actually had a 25-year-old live-in maid who immigrated from Ireland named Bridget Sullivan. They called her Maggie for some reason. I don't know why. But Maggie said that Lizzie and Emma, who were the two sisters, pretty much never ate meals with their parents, mainly because of Abby. Like, they did not like her. So maybe they had, like, a reason to as well. Just as a little fun thing. In May of 1892, Andrew killed a bunch of pigeons in his barn with a hatchet. Lizzie had
That's actually kind of impressive.
Lizzie had recently built a roost for those pigeons.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so she was kind of pissed that he killed all of them with the hatchet. I just thought that was interesting.
I'm just gonna pin that one for later.
Yeah.
for no particular reason.
Yeah. Because of a family argument, both sisters, Lizzie and Emma, took extended vacations in New Bedford in July of 1892.
God, New England sucks.
Yeah, for real.
New Bedford.
Going
to the tropical region of New Bedford.
Yeah. Where they have their boat.
It's probably like a fucking wooden dinghy with or like oars.
So just a pirate ship. So even once they returned, though, Lizzie actually stayed in, like, I said a rooming house. Basically, probably like a...
Just like a boarding house or a hostel?
Like a hostel. I feel like it's like a hostel. She stayed in a rooming house for multiple days.
Is that like the 1800s equivalent of like the recently divorced dad who's like a raging alcoholic getting a motel room while he figures his shit out?
I feel like it is.
Okay.
I feel like that's what it is. But so she stayed at one of those places for like quite a few days after she had returned home before she actually went like back to the house.
Okay.
So like they basically like not getting along. A lot of family tension.
It seems like that was just a very intentional like move to avoid her family.
Yeah, and it like so a lot of tension, and it had been like increasing. And what only made it all worse, which was kind of what I was saying, where like he's cheap, but like they thought Abby married him for his money. Like possible example is Andrew was like gifting real estate to multiple different branches of Abby's family for free. Yeah, so that's why I was like, he's cheap. But he's
sort of like in specific,
and he'd been cheap up until this point. Like this is the first they'd ever seen of this.
Okay,
that's why like that's another like tensions were already high. It's just kind of like added on to it. So I wasn't full. I'm gonna talk about this. I didn't really fully understand it. So basically, the two sisters eventually, like after all this, demanded and received a rental property from their father, which was actually the house they used to live in until their mother died. As a rental property. They got it from, he gave it to them. They demanded that he gave it to them. They paid their dad $1 for it.
Wow.
And then a week later sold it back to him for $5,000, which is $150,000 in today's money.
What the fuck?
That's what I mean. I don't totally get it.
Okay.
Like, they were demanding it because he was giving away property to Abby's family, and they were like, that's ridiculous. We should get something. So I don't get the $1 thing, and I don't get why he would buy it back from them. That was very confusing. But whatever. So the night before what Max is about to talk about, the brother of Lizzie and Emma's dead mother, so their uncle on their dead mom's side, came to the house to talk some business matters with Andrew. Business matters.
I have a raging investment opportunity for you. Oh, cutting edge stuff.
So it's speculated that at some point property transfer came up, and at some point they were talking about what I think was happening is he was like, you're giving away a bunch of property that either maybe like the dead mom like owned or helped take care of or whatever to somebody else's family. So I think he was like upset about it. And this just again made a tense situation more tense, like, and made Andrew like more upset. Everybody was upset. Everybody was in like a weird fucking mood. And then for a few days leading up to the main event, the whole household was like super sick.
The main event.
Yeah, the main event. Like the whole household was like extremely sick. They thought it was food poisoning.
Okay.
Because I guess like they had been eating like the same like a thing of meat for a few days. But some people actually suggested it was like genuine poisoning Because apparently Andrew was not a popular person in the local community. Like, people, I guess, did not like him.
He kind of sounds like
a
Scrooge
cunt.
McDuck.
Yeah, he sounds like a cunt.
Yeah.
But along with that, because this whole renter property and all that stuff, I just get the feeling that he's like a shitty landlord that like overcharges for everything.
Yeah,
because he's like
involved
cheap.
in like everything too. Like,
Yeah.
he like you said he ran a bank.
Yeah.
Multiple textiles.
bunch of shit. Yeah. So I feel like people just didn't like him.
It's pretty easy to believe that he was just kind of a shitty person.
Yeah, no, it very much is.
Didn't
and
seem
then
very,
and then married this chick and just started giving away property for free.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Not a great look on him.
Also, like, I kind of get. Granted, like, she did his first wife did die. It wasn't like they got divorced or anything, but like, I get the new wife's kind of stance on it. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm your wife, but you're giving all of this shit to like her family.
Wait, what?
Like, so like the reason that Lizzie's stepmom hated Andrew, or like why they fought about it, like that's understandable.
Lizzie's stepmom didn't hate Andrew.
They like fought. Wasn't she salty that he was giving away property?
Andrew was giving away property to the stepmom.
Oh,
to the stepmom's family.
Okay, I misunderstood that. Okay, I thought he was giving it to.
Names. I'll repeat names because I was using
that might
names.
be important.
So Lizzie and Emma are
I'm
the
lost.
sisters.
Okay, yes.
Andrew's the father.
Yes.
Sarah is the dead mother, the real mom.
Okay, I got Sarah and Abby mixed up.
Abby is the stepmom. So
okay.
Andrew is giving away property for free to the stepmom's family.
Okay, well then that explains the beef that Lizzie and Emma had.
Yeah.
Okay,
the beef is very understandable.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'm tracking now. Okay, let me compose myself.
Okay, hopefully I didn't fuck that up. But if anybody was confused, that's what's happening. He's giving away shit to the stepmom. The daughters are pissed. The brothers seem to be kind of pissed about it. We're there.
Okay, that also explains
people
the
were
brothers' beef.
pissed.
There was beef.
Yeah,
and especially apparently bad beef that they were eating.
Possibly beef.
Aha! See what I did there?
I do. I bet it was pigeon. Okay.
All right.
Main event time.
All right. So, the uncle, whose name was John Morse.
Is that the one that I was talking about?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know his name.
He arrived in the evening of August 3rd, 1892, and slept in the guest room that night. So apparently it was like a reasonably sized house for the time period. Just not...
Dude was rich.
Didn't have plumbing, which is seems like an interesting trade-off. Like, bigger house, no plumbing.
I'd take smaller for a toilet over a bucket.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
God, this is... All right, if you're listening to this, I'm... Like, the sun is setting, and it's coming through my window, and it's, like, right in my face.
Close the blinds?
They are closed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, he's right.
Yep, no, it's like right through the crack.
They are closed.
So I'm like trying to dodge it, but I also don't want to be too far from the mic anyway.
Yeah.
So he arrived and stayed in the guest room that night, August 3rd. The following morning, August 4th, Morse went to breakfast where Andrew, Abby, Lizzie, and Maggie were also present.
Maggie's the maid, just to reiterate.
Bridget
a lot of
Sullivan.
names.
So naturally they call her
Maggie.
Maggie. Yep.
Racist.
So all of them were present. And afterward, and actually now I know why that was like unique because that wasn't common. So afterwards, Andrew and Morse were sitting. I don't know why I said that. Andrew and John, or Borden and Morse. Consistency.
I've been using first names.
All right, Andrew and John went to the sitting room where they sat and stared into nothingness because that's what
Classic
you do in a
sitting room.
So they sat down and talked for almost an hour. And Morse left around 8:48 a.m., which is oddly specific, but okay. Then that's like the direct wording from the article too, like around 8:48.
Which is like, if you're gonna say around, why not just say 8:50?
Yeah, or like a little bit before 9.
Either say at a number or around a more general number.
Yeah. So he left to go buy a pair of oxen and visit his niece in Fall River.
Oh, a classic 1892 day.
It's a very old-fashioned sentence.
A pair of oxen.
Pair of oxen. And then he planned on returning to the Borden house around noon for lunch. Andrew left for his morning walk around 9.
Okay.
See, that's how you properly approximate something.
Yeah, around 9.
As the morning went on, people went about their normal routines. For example, Lizzie and Emma normally would clean certain rooms of the house, and the guest bedroom was among those. However, today, Abby Borden went upstairs to clean it. So between 9 and 10:30, she went upstairs to make the bed.
Coincidence?
Coincidence? Andrew returned about 10:30. So Andrew left at 9, returned at 10:30.
An hour and a half walk?
Yeah, dude.
It's a long ass walk.
Yeah. he's a very, very busy man.
Yeah.
He has lots of things to attend to, including an hour and a half walk.
Right.
No wonder people hate him.
Fucking 1892, man.
Honestly, I gotta
he's just fucking strolling through the streets, like looking like a dickhead.
Hey, you owe me $50.
Yeah,
he's walking.
That's what I feel like this walk was. It wasn't just a walk. He's just walking through the streets of like, you owe me money, you owe me money, you owe me money. Like everybody's like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. The only other thing I can think of is the reason for the hour and a half walk is just boredom because it's 1892.
That's true. There's nothing to do. No. The war hasn't started yet. No. The other war's over.
Yeah.
The third war's coming, but that's pretty far off too.
Yeah. So he returned about 10:30. Gone an hour and a half, and his key wouldn't work in the door, which was odd. So he knocked to be let in, and Maggie tried to answer the door and open the door for him. Mm-hmm. Turns out it was jammed, so she cursed trying to open it, and she would later testify that she heard Lizzie laughing immediately after that, at her cursing. And she didn't see Lizzie at the time, and it sounded like it was coming from the top of the stairs. Okay. And that's significant because of something I will tell you soon. I hated how the article went through things, so I kind of reordered it. So I hope this makes sense.
Oh, I did the same thing actually, because the part. So I grabbed some of the other shit from different articles, but the section on her early life, it said some stuff, and then it explained that her dad was rich, and I was like, well, that would help. Because it mentioned a few things. It was the plumbing. And then I was like, well, it's 1892. And then it was like, oh, dad was rich, though. And I was like, oh. So I'm just going to put that up front to understand the situation that they're in. So that anything that comes up like that, you get it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Maggie cursed trying to open up the door because it was jammed. And then she heard Lizzie laughing. And apparently the laughter was coming from the top of the stairs. Which Lizzie would later deny.
Classic.
She said she was not upstairs.
Ah, what a liar.
Ah, right. That rascal. So the reason this matters, just a little bit, is if one were to venture upstairs and take a look, you might possibly find Abby Borden's body laying on the floor in the guest bedroom.
Maybe.
Which is, if you go to the top of the stairs, you hook a left.
A little
and
Larry.
It's straight.
Okay.
Hook a Larry. Yeah, it's straight ahead, and the door was open. So pretty hard to miss.
Right. So basically, if you're upstairs, you did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just a theory.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you went upstairs, you would see Abby Borden's body. Forensics of the attack point to the following scenario. Forensics. Which is,
some fucking cop with a hunch.
I've got a hunch. I wonder how many murders were solved just on hunches and how many people were wrongly executed because of a hunch.
It had to be a fuck ton.
So many. I think I'm pretty sure I've referenced this before, but I think John Mulaney's got a bit before DNA, as long as you weren't still there when the police came, you had a pretty good shot at getting away with it.
Yeah, you did. That's very true. I love that bit.
So forensics, quote unquote, points to the following scenario. Abby was facing her killer at the time of the attack.
Okay.
She was first struck on the side of the head with a hatchet just above her ear. This caused her to turn and fall face down on the floor, splat, creating contusions on her nose and forehead.
Okay. Believe it.
Her killer then struck again multiple times in the back of the head, killing her.
Okay.
It was important to note that it was the second ones that killed her.
Okay.
Would not have made a difference, but want to take a guess on how many axe wounds they found?
12.
No.
More or less.
More.
17.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Plus the first initial one.
12.
So 18.
Oh.
There was 18 on the back of her head.
I thought you were telling me to take 17 plus 12. I was like, that's a lot.
No, yeah.
So 18 still a fuck ton.
18 total. Yeah, so they really got carried away. This was wow.
Interesting that it was a hatchet. Almost like a hatchet killed all those pigeons.
An emotionally charged crime as revenge. But that's neither here nor there. Abby sucks, whatever. Moving on.
Yeah. So fuck Abby, honestly.
Yep.
So that's fine.
Abby's body just chilling upstairs in the bedroom.
Right.
Literally. And would have been visible to anyone on the second floor. So in a later testimony, Maggie claimed that she was in her third floor room a short time later.
There's a third floor.
Yeah. And I also have a feeling there was 2 staircases in this house.
Yeah, I was going to say, how would she have gotten to the third floor?
Yeah, so reading different accounts, it sounds like there's 2 staircases. There was a maid's route and then the main staircase. Yeah.
She was Irish.
Yeah, I guess she was Irish. Yeah.
Wasn't this the time that people really didn't like Irish people?
Yeah.
I think this was that time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Anyways.
I also feel like that kind of lasted for a long time.
No, it definitely did. Well, especially on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny because so many of them are Irish now.
Yeah.
Like, Boston is just Irish people.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, yeah. So she was in her third floor room a short time later. And this is because she felt unwell because apparently everyone had food poisoning.
Yeah, everybody was fucking sick.
Yeah, so after Andrew arrived home, she went to go take a nap.
Okay.
Took the other staircase up to her third floor room.
Damn, maybe they're not racist. She could fucking take a nap during the day?
Yeah, also
maybe they treated her really well.
Yeah, so I was also confused about that because they have a maid, but also it was Abby and Lizzie's responsibility to take care of the guest room.
Oh, that's actually true.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, because that was a point is because Abby and Lizzie normally did that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It was
Lizzie and Emma normally
that
did it.
Abby was in that room.
Lizzie and Emma normally did it.
Yeah.
And then Abby was doing... I thought you said Lizzie and Abby, or Abby and Lizzie.
So
Lizzie
and Emma normally cleaned the guest bedroom.
But Abby did it that day.
But Abby did it that day, yes.
Gotcha.
And never left.
Lizzie dirtied it.
Yes.
With blood.
Mm-hmm. Right, so, in a later testimony, Maggie claimed that she was in her third floor room and felt unwell after Andrew came home because she had food poisoning.
Right.
So she went to go take a nap. Just before 11:10 a.m., she heard Lizzie call from downstairs, "Maggie, come quick! Father's dead! Somebody came in and killed him!"
It's very descriptive. Like how she added the part, somebody came in and killed him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so Andrew was lying slumped on the couch in the sitting room. Shouldn't have been laying down.
Yeah.
It's a room for sitting.
Yeah.
Go to the laying room.
If you lay in the sitting room, it's actually a law.
You're asking for
It's
trouble.
a law that anyone is allowed to come kill you if they spot you laying in a sitting room. Same if you're sitting in a laying room. It's
shame he wasn't in the living room.
You gotta follow the rules. Life hack.
Life hack.
Always stay in the living room because then you can't die.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm just going to let that sink in.
Yeah.
All right.
Think about it.
Something to think about. So Andrew was lying slumped on the couch in the sitting room where he had been struck 10 or 11 times with a hatchet. Suspicious. Gotta believe there's a link here.
Yeah.
So this is kind of gross. Investigators determined that he was asleep when he was first attacked because one of his eyes had been split cleanly in 2.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He was still bleeding from the attack, suggesting a very recent attack.
Well, someone had just came in.
Someone just came in and killed him.
And just left.
And just left.
Yeah.
So Dr. Bowen, the family's physician, who apparently just lived across the street on call all the time.
Interesting.
Arrived very quickly afterwards. And immediately after he was informed.
Okay.
So,
sure.
I guess, just always on call. And so he arrived and pronounced perhaps, fucking obviously that they were both dead.
As tends to happen.
Yeah, with 11 hatchet wounds.
11 hatchet wounds.
And Andrew's death was estimated to be at 11 a.m.
30 minutes later.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting timeline.
Okay.
Yeah, so moving on to the investigation, which is very prompt and lots of due diligence because 1892 and the East Coast and forensics and... Anyway, perhaps unsurprisingly...
It's just like you're going to get to the point?
Yep. Anyway, perhaps unsurprisingly, Lizzie was questioned by police right away. Now, this could obviously be a trauma response or somebody trying to get their story straight. One or the other. There's no in between.
Okay.
But police officers said her answers to questions were at times strange and contradictory. She would first tell them something and then kind of change her story or just totally deny that.
Sure.
So initially she reported hearing either a groan or a scraping noise or a distress call before entering the house.
All very different.
Yep. Because I guess, according to her story, she was out doing something in the yard near the barn.
Yeah.
And so she was coming back in, and that's when she discovered Andrew's body. So she heard one of those things, which ranged wildly before entering the house. 2 hours later, after like police first got there and asked what her story was, she told police that she'd heard nothing and entered not realizing anything was wrong. When asked where her stepmom was, she recalled Abby receiving a note asking her to go visit a sick friend. And she also stated that she thought Abby was back, like it was a very short visit, and asked if somebody could go upstairs and look for her.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Sullivan and a neighbor were halfway up the stairs with their eyes level with the floor. Looked to the, what did you say, Larry? Looked to the Larry. And in the guest room, they saw Abby lying face down on the floor.
Yeah.
Yep.
So can't really miss her.
Nope.
Right
Real hard to miss.
Okay.
Yeah. Police noted
Not looking good for Lizzie.
Not looking good. So police said that they didn't like Lizzie's attitude.
Just because she's a woman. It's the 1890s.
So apparently, she seemed too calm and poised.
Too calm.
To have just found her parents murdered.
Okay.
Because apparently she was just expected to like freak the fuck out.
Right.
And, like,
I mean,
just be
a lot of
delirious
times, like, shock makes you seem very calm.
Yeah.
She also didn't like them.
Nope. So she's like, oh no, Abby. Darn.
Come back.
When are we reading the will?
Yeah. Do I get anything? Or...
Yeah, so apparently police didn't check her thoroughly for blood, although none was like outwardly visible.
Okay, fair. But also, if you're like this suspicious of her, check her for blood.
Yeah.
Like, I get it
for the fucking axe murder. Like,
I feel like their theory was that it's such a gruesome murder that it's not possible for her to not have anything on the outside and have blood like somewhere else.
yeah, maybe.
That's like my only guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
Only
good
guess.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was none outwardly visible. And upon a quick search of her room, found nothing. On an unrelated side tangent / note, police were subsequently criticized for a lack of diligence.
Yeah, that's not at all par for the course in the 1890s or now.
Nah,
let's be honest.
Actually, no, none of the above.
Really ever.
No.
They've just always been bad.
In the basement, police found 2 hatchets, 2 axes, and a hatchet head with a broken handle. The hatchet head was suspected of being the murder weapon because of the break in the handle, and it looked recent.
Was there no blood on it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. So the ash and the dust on the axe head or the hatchet head looked like it had been like deliberately applied because it wasn't like an even coating like the others were. Like it had been
like someone just like put fucking dust on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
And yeah, so that was based on like comparison to the other tools, and this was decidedly different. However, none of the tools were removed from the house because of. I mean, like, taken.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Because of the mysterious illness that had stricken the household before the murders, Andrew and Abby's stomachs were inspected during autopsies and tested for poison. Because, we've got 18 axe wounds. I bet it was poison.
Okay, I like it.
Yep, so they were tested for poison.
Due diligence.
I read that the first time and I was like, and they were tested for poison. Wait a fucking minute.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, so how do you test for poison in 1892? Do you just like have your least favorite village idiot come and like, here, try this?
Yeah, I don't actually know.
I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, hard to say.
Yeah. But regardless, there were no indications of poison.
Okay.
So one of the reasons that they tested for this was because during the investigation, they found that Lizzie had inquired at a local drugstore about hydrocyanic acid in a diluted form, like in those words. And apparently it's extremely poisonous, but she was asking for it so she could use it to clean her furs, which apparently you could do.
Yeah.
But that's another reason that they check for poison.
Fair enough.
I also don't know why, if you were like trying to kill somebody, why you would ask for it in a diluted form.
That's a good question.
Because, like, efficiency. Maybe it was harder to get. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But
so it's probably harder to get.
Yeah. So they were tested for poison. Nothing turned up. Well, Lizzie and Emma's friend Alice, later that day, decided to stay with them the following night. So the night of August 4th, after they were murdered.
Okay.
Alice Russell was her name.
Okay.
So her uncle, Morse, John, spent the night in the attic guest room.
Oh my god.
Although later accounts that he slept in the murdery guest room, not the attic, but
seems odd.
Neither here nor there,
right?
Maybe. And police were stationed around the house that night to keep watch. Both to keep watch to see if anyone tries to enter or exit.
Yeah, that's fair.
One officer said that he saw Borden enter the cellar with Russell, so Lizzie and Alice,
Yeah.
carrying a kerosene lamp and a slop pail, which seems like a weird descriptor, but apparently that was just a thing.
Okay.
He stated that he saw both women exit the cellar, after which Lizzie returned alone. So although he wasn't able to clearly see what she was doing, he said that she was bent over the sink doing something. Presumably washing something. Blood. Although they already searched her room in the basement, so... Well, they weren't diligent,
there's
though.
fucking 19 floors. So.
Yeah. Yeah, basement 3 floors and an attic?
So
Something
5?
like 5?
Like 4.5, I guess.
Yeah, 4.5. So on August 5th, the next day, Morse left the house and was mobbed by hundreds of people wanting to know what was going on. Because news travels fast, and it's 1892, so there's nothing
they're
else
bored
to do.
as fuck.
Yeah, it's either you duel with your worst enemy at high noon, or you go see who was murdered that day. And police actually had to escort him back into the house. So he stayed another day. On August 6th, so 2 days after the murders, police conducted a more thorough search of the house, inspecting the sisters' clothing and confiscating the broken hatchet handle.
Okay.
Broken handled hatchet. The hatchet with a broken handle.
Yeah.
That evening, a detective informed Lizzie that she was in fact a suspect.
Wow.
Shocker.
Feels like she should have known that one.
Yeah, you probably could have guessed. And the next morning, so I lied. Same morning, August 6th.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Alice entered the kitchen to find Lizzie tearing up a dress, which is suspicious. So Lizzie explained that she was planning to put it onto the fire because it was covered in paint. And it was never determined if that was the dress that she was wearing on the slashy murdery day.
Suspicious.
Yeah. Although Alice wasn't able to, in her testimony, she wasn't able to confirm if it was, blood that Lizzie was washing off or just paint.
And the other question is, was anything recently painted in the house? Hard to say.
I don't think so.
So, yeah, right. 2 days later, on August 8th, Lizzie showed up to her inquest hearing.
What's an inquest hearing?
Don't know. Didn't look it up.
It sounds like kind of like a...
I think it's like a private questioning.
Okay.
I think. So she requested to have her family attorney present, but this was refused under a state statute that said inquest hearings must be held in private. So I think
She's
it's
a
like
witch.
I think it's like her, probably an investigator and maybe some witnesses, but no attorneys, all that stuff. So she was given regular doses of morphine to calm her down, but unsurprisingly, this may have affected her testimony. Her behavior was kind of wild.
I'll take no shit for 300.
So yeah, her behavior was erratic, and she refused to answer a lot of questions, even when the answer would have been beneficial to her, which is weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
She also, kind of what you were saying earlier, and doing it again, which makes it seem like it wasn't just a rattled thing, she contradicted herself a lot, giving different accounts of the morning in question on multiple times. So, an example being, she said she was in the kitchen reading a magazine when her dad got home. Another time saying she was in the dining room, ironing some shit. And then another time saying she was coming down the stairs as he walked in the door.
Yeah.
So, those are all pretty different. One of them meant she was upstairs when Abby was murdered.
Which is suspicious.
Yeah.
That would have basically put you at the crime scene before it was discovered.
Yeah, and it would put her at Abby's and then also at her dad's.
Yeah.
And then she also testified that she took her father's boots off and put slippers on him.
I did hear that.
But police photos clearly show Andrew wearing boots.
Yep.
So that was weird.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Okay, side note. I was thinking, and obviously, the listeners aren't going to know this before it happens, but I was debating what we should post for the Instagram, and, there are the murder photos online, and they're fucking, they're gruesome. You can see his head, caved in.
Ooh.
So I was wondering, should we put that, or, maybe...
we could, for Jonestown.
Yeah.
I posted what was probably hundreds of
could
dead people.
Yeah, we could do, Lizzie, and then,
I feel
swipe for...
Yeah, I feel like we should
just,
kind of do what I did, be
TW.
hey, FYI,
Yeah.
there are dead people in 2 photos.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
we'll figure it out. Sorry,
Yeah.
I derailed that.
The DA was extremely aggressive and confrontational during the hearing.
Sounds like a DA.
Yeah, and on August 11th, Lizzie was served with an arrest warrant and taken to jail. The testimony from the inquest hearing which was the basis for the debate about her guilt or innocence, obviously, because this was like the first and only official questioning, was actually ruled inadmissible at her trial in June of 1893.
They knew that word in 1893?
I don't know.
I thought like their go-to would just be, she's a witch burner. And,
Yeah,
like, that's the end of it.
True. Even so, the testimony got a lot of attention in the media and changed a lot of people's minds who were initially sure that she was innocent.
Okay.
So the testimony still got out.
All right.
It was just once the trial happened, the judge was like, we can't use this, probably because of all the drugs she was given. It didn't say why, but that's my guess.
Okay.
But yeah, so a lot of people were like, ooh, she might not be innocent.
God damn it, guys. You can't drug the witness.
Yeah. A grand jury began hearing evidence in November 1893, and Lizzie was indicted on December 2nd.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. So good for her, I guess. Or no. Indicted is bad.
Yeah, that's like you're formally charged with it.
Yeah,
So the grand jury is like deciding if you're
Yes.
to be charged, and then the indictment is you're
Yes.
formally charged.
Moving on. Lizzie's trial, more about the trial, took place in June of 1893. 5 days before the trial's commencement on June 1st, another axe murder happened in Fall River. Which is kind of wild. The victim of this one was Bertha Manchester, who I assume was a Hardy woman, who was found
Yeah.
dead in her kitchen after being hacked multiple times. So there were actually a lot of similarities between the two separate occurrences, and these were noted by jurors. However, a Portuguese immigrant named Jose Correia de Melo was later convicted of this murder, and he was not anywhere near Fall River at the time of the Borden murders.
Okay.
So, basically saying he could not have been the one to have killed Lizzie's parents doesn't really mean Lizzie couldn't have been the one to kill Bertha, to be fair. It just means that he was convicted of this one and couldn't have done that one. To be fair, Lizzie technically could have done both.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, kind of odd, but if that's true, coincidental and unconnected. Very odd, though.
Yep.
So, a main point of discussion in the trial was the hatchet head that was found in the basement. What you were talking about, the separated hatchet
The murder
head.
weapon.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Prosecutors argued that the killer had removed the handle since it would have been covered in blood. I'm not sure how the head should have been as well, but probably harder to clean the wood off than like steel.
Yeah.
Although they struggled to convince people that it was the murder weapon, as one officer claimed that there was a hatchet handle near the head, but another officer said there wasn't a hatchet handle anywhere in the basement. So, the cops bungled this one, unsurprisingly.
You were so close.
No bloody clothing was ever found. And it was testified that Alice had witnessed Lizzie burning a dress in the kitchen stove, like what you were saying. And her claim was that she had brushed up against some wet paint. And the defense never denied the statement that she was burning a dress.
Okay.
So the defense wasn't like, that didn't happen. They were like, no, that happened. Like,
Yeah, but it wasn't blood.
yeah. Lizzie's mere presence at the house was actually also a point of argument during the trial. According to testimony, Sullivan, so Maggie, went to the second floor around 10:58 a.m. and left Lizzie and her dad downstairs. Lizzie had made the claim to several people that when this happened, she went into the barn and was not in the house for, quote, 20 minutes or possibly half an hour. So she claimed to be in the barn for 20 minutes to half an hour.
Okay.
I don't know who this is, but Hyman Lubinsky testified for the defense that he witnessed Lizzie leaving the barn around 11:03 a.m.
Suspicious.
And Charles Gardner confirmed this time. However, that doesn't actually match up with the 20 to 30 minutes thing. Like, yes,
No.
it means she wasn't in the house at exactly 11, which is when he was predicted to be killed.
Yeah.
At 11:10 a.m. was when Lizzie called Maggie downstairs and told her Andrew had been killed, which still doesn't add up to 20 to 30 minutes.
No.
So
because-
she claimed
so
to
she was
leave
saying
the house at 10:58
Right.
and be gone for 20 or 30 minutes.
Who keeps this much track of time?
But also claimed that she called Maggie downstairs at 11:10, which is only 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
So, a little bit weird.
Hey, time flies when you're chasing pigeons, am I right?
Or when you're murdering people.
Or when you're... Yeah.
Yeah.
Also that.
So, yeah, Lizzie called Maggie downstairs, said Andrew had been killed, and told her to go get a doctor. So both victims had their heads removed during autopsy, and the skulls were admitted into evidence during the trial. When Lizzie saw them in the courtroom, she apparently fainted. Could have been fake. Hard to say. I had this in here, but you kind of already covered it, that Lizzie had tried to purchase the hydrogen cyanide days before the murder, to clean apparently her furs.
Yeah.
The judge ruled this too remote in time to have any connection, which it seems like the opposite of remote in time. I don't think she was trying to poison them, granted, but that specific reasoning seems odd. That a few days before they were murdered with a hatchet, she tried to buy something that could have killed them.
It's like if they were murdered with a hatchet and she went to the hardware store 3 days before to buy a hatchet.
Yeah.
You're like, no,
It's
I don't
basically
think so.
just because they didn't die of poisoning, the judge was like, I don't think it's relevant.
Yeah. That kind of lines up, like, not that she had an explicit motive. I mean, like, obviously they didn't get along, but like if you were intent on killing somebody,
Money would be
and you
my
were
guess.
like
Her dad was rich.
denied, like somebody told you at the store, like, no, you can't buy poison.
Right.
Like you're
And
okay.
then a few days later,
What else
they
can I
turn up
do?
dead. Like,
Yeah.
it almost feels like if
maybe
she
I'll use
would
a
have,
hatchet.
if she would have gotten the poison and they died from a hatchet, it'd be less relevant.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah,
Because then it seems like a plan B is the hatchet.
yeah, like if she would have gotten it and they died from the hatchet, it'd be like, oh, well, they're unrelated.
Yeah.
But here it's like, no, you can't have the poison. Kill them with a hatchet instead. Like, so super interesting. I guess ruling in that sense. But so the presiding judge gave a lengthy summary that actually supported the defense as his message to the jury before they went to deliberate. After an hour and a half, the jury acquitted Lizzie. And she told the reporters that she was the happiest woman in the world on her way out of the courthouse. So she was found not guilty.
Interesting.
Which is wild. And I genuinely think it's because the cops sucked at their job. Like, 2 different officers gave conflicting, like, testimonies, all this shit. Like, I feel like if they would have presented things the right way, she would have got convicted. But because they didn't, like, the jury was like, well, we can't really convict her. Like, we don't have any real evidence based on what we heard.
Yeah, one of the things I heard was, like, given basically her proximity to, like, everything with other witnesses in tow, there was no way that she couldn't have done it, but there was also, like, no way that she could have done it and gotten away with it, like, scot-free like that.
Yeah.
Because, like, Maggie was in the house, heard nothing.
Right.
Apparently, well, allegedly, Lizzie was, like, outside the house during Andrew's murder window.
Allegedly,
yeah.
left a minute before and came back 2 minutes after. Like,
yeah, and there was also, like,
seems suspicious.
There's also no physical evidence pointing to Lizzie at, like, right at the crime scene.
But it's like one of those, like, I agree with you, and it's like the, you know, 2 sides of the same coin. There was no physical evidence pointing to anybody else either. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's weird.
Yeah, well, so say Lizzie killed Andrew at 11 a.m. and called Maggie down at, like, 10 minutes later, had already cleaned up everything. Like, that's hard to...
Right, but that's... I agree.
Yeah.
But 10 minutes is a long time. Like, if she had planned it well,
Yeah.
she could have, say, she hid the dress with the blood on it, changed into a different dress, and that's the dress she was burning, the original one.
Yeah.
Because they checked her room, they checked the basement. Maybe she put it in the barn. Maybe she put it in, like, a kitchen cabinet. Like, I think it was her.
Okay.
I don't know who else it could be.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, it had to be Lizzie, but also, like, it couldn't have been Lizzie.
Yeah.
So although she was acquitted, Lizzie remains pretty much the only suspect in the murders. A few random theories have come out here and there. Like, in 1967, a writer proposed that Lizzie committed the murders in a fugue state. So she was, like, in a state of psychosis and, like, didn't remember it. She wasn't in control of herself, or, like, her impulses or anything. But she didn't remember it. But it was definitely Lizzie. How? And I think...
Like, why, though? What put her in that state?
So their reasoning was, like, she had the motive, which is, like, beef with her parents and wanted the money. Yeah.
Right.
But the kind of, like, the means was that food poisoning that they all had, like, somehow had an effect on her that put her in this fugue state where she just, like, snapped and killed her parents.
Okay. Even though they were kind of all out of it by then.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm dying. So in 1992, an essay suggested that Lizzie may have been sexually and or physically abused by her father, giving her plenty of motive.
Was there any evidence of that?
No.
Okay.
No, it was purely speculation.
Okay.
There wasn't any...
just pure speculation.
Yeah, there wasn't any, like,
maybe
hard...
this happened.
Yeah, there wasn't any hard evidence behind it.
She already had motive, though, so that doesn't really solve anything.
Yeah.
Like, motive isn't the missing link here.
No, I think they were just kind of buying into the fact that, like, oh, this guy's an asshole, maybe he did this.
Yeah. I mean, that's already a motive. He's an asshole. And he was rich, and she would get the money.
Yeah, so that was one suggestion of motive. Back in 1984, An author suggested that Lizzie committed the murders after her parents found out that she was romantically involved with Maggie, and then killed them after they both reacted badly.
That's out of left field.
Yeah, it seems like kind of like wishful thinking on that author's part. Like,
right.
What if?
What if? Yeah.
Is there any evidence of that? No. Maggie actually moved on to other jobs like right after the murders, after everything settled down. And settled down with a man in Butte, Montana, which is spelled like butt with an E. I just thought that was entertaining.
But
And she died there in 1948. Interestingly, she gave a deathbed confession to her sister.
Maggie did?
Yes.
Okay.
In which she claimed that she changed her original testimony to protect Lizzie, which is really incriminating.
Very much so.
Yeah. So another potential suspect was Lizzie's uncle, John Morse, who apparently was not there at the crime window.
Right, he had left to go
at the window of opportunity.
By two oxen
and visit his niece.
Yeah.
So he had rarely met with the family, yet he was there when they died and gave a suspiciously detailed story when questioned by police. The exact quote from law enforcement was he provided a, quote, absurdly perfect and over-detailed alibi for the death of Abby Borden, end quote.
That's such a fucking police thing to say, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a great alibi. Maybe too great.
Too great.
Like, I don't know. I would get it if there was anything else suggesting that he was there, but, like, no one else saw him.
Yeah.
Like, there was no evidence saying he was there, so, like, he just had a good alibi.
Yeah.
He has a good memory, like...
Yeah, I don't think the motive is out of question because, like you said, like, property may have come up in that conversation.
I don't know if
he
would have gotten anything, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he might have been salty about it.
Oh, I guess salty, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not saying the motive wasn't there, but yeah, the means and opportunity, questionable.
And other people, at least to me, had more motive.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
he would have just like avenged his anger, whereas like Lizzie, for instance, would have gotten money and probably property.
Yeah,
and not had to deal with them anymore.
Yeah. So those were a couple of the theories that came out.
Okay,
none were super convincing.
Yeah, they all lack at least like one of the things you need.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of moving towards the end here, talking about Lizzie's later life after this. So after the trial, the Borden sisters, so Lizzie and Emma, move into a big modern house in the nicer area of Fall River.
So like still 1800 shithole?
I don't know, probably, but it probably had indoor plumbing. Mm-mm. But again, this was like immediately they died, and they're like, let's move to a nicer place. So it's like,
Couldn't have waited?
Yeah. So Lizzie, I don't know why I put this, but I just thought it was interesting, started going by Lisbeth at the time.
Wait, like not Elizabeth?
No,
just
Lisbeth. Yeah, I don't know what that was about. The sisters
is that like the 1800s equivalent of getting bangs?
Probably. The sisters had 9 live-in maids, a housekeeper, and a coachman. That's what I was like, immediately they took their inheritance and just like,
wow,
made their life way nicer, which is why I was like, that's suspicious a little bit. Because Abby was ruled to have died before Andrew, her estate went to Andrew when she died. And then when Andrew died, both of their combined estates went to the daughters.
Was Abby rich?
I don't know if she was rich, but like she had the Durfee last name, which he was like the president of something. So I'm guessing her family had some money. I'm guessing she had some money. And also say Andrew had given her a bunch of property. It would have just went back to Andrew and then now part of their inheritance. So basically they were fucking loaded at this point. Although a considerable settlement was paid to settle claims by Abby's family, but still loaded though.
Okay.
Like they did have to pay out some money on that, but like still more than they would have gotten just from Andrew. Like they didn't pay out everything they got. So even though Lizzie was found to be innocent, she was outcasted from society in Fall River, unsurprisingly, because everybody's like, no, you definitely did it. She was brought to the forefront of public opinion again in 1897 when she was accused of shoplifting in Providence, Rhode Island.
What?
Which is like, you're rich. Why would you do that?
For that thrill.
Yeah. In 1905, the two sisters got into an argument over a party that Lizzie threw for some actress that named a name I've never heard of her.
What?
And because of this, Emma moved out, and they never saw each other again.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
That's so...
Yep.
Okay.
So Lizzie was sick in her last year after having her gallbladder removed, and she died of pneumonia on June 1st, 1927 in Fall River.
Ah, darn.
Funeral details were never published, and almost no one came to it. Wildly enough, 9 days later, Emma died from chronic nephritis in New Hampshire. So within 9 days of each other, which is wild to me. And they were buried next to each other in a family plot in Oak Grove Cemetery. So when she died, Lizzie was worth about $250,000 then, so about $5 million in today's money.
Shit.
So yeah, that's over half of what Andrew was worth. But I don't know if that was in addition to what Abby had or what. So yeah, it's still basically still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, shit.
that is all I have.
That's all I got.
Awesome. That's all we have.
Well, is it time?
I think it's
All right.
time.
Well, you guys know the drill. Thank you for listening this far.
Maybe next episode we'll have an ad for you.
Oh, we'll see. We are recording it tomorrow.
Oh, probably
so
not
we'll see.
then. Yeah, because we're recording tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going on a trip for 2 weeks, so
Yeah. Back to back.
yeah.
But yeah, you guys know the drill. Follow us on Instagram at the.rabbitholepod.
And TikTok.
And TikTok.
The
also
dot
at-
rabbit hole pod.
Yeah. I'm going to let you plug that for
Oh
now
yeah,
on.
dude.
Yeah.
TikTok is also the dot rabbit hole pod.
It is.
It's the same thing. And I'm gonna try to remember to go put the link to the TikTok in the link tree. You know what sucks? I feel like we had this conversation about Instagram, how their bio is super short.
Yeah.
TikTok's is shorter.
Really?
Because I just copied our bio from Instagram and put it into TikTok, and it still couldn't fit all that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, but I might just delete the whole thing and just put link to podcast on Instagram or something like that. Because I have the same thing just with some stuff removed,
Yeah.
but it's no one actually knows what it is that or they know what it is, but they might not know where to find it. So I might just put I don't know, maybe a conspiracy / true crime podcast link in an Instagram bio or something like that.
Yeah.
Just
then
just
you
to
can,
direct
you
them
can-
to click on the button.
Yeah, you can bunny hop links.
Yeah. I might do that because I was damn, that's even I thought Instagrams was short.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't really know something like that. I don't know what I expected.
Yeah.
But,
either way.
Either way, you guys can find it, and things should be up there.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully
I
soon.
need to figure out again how to make them, but
Yeah, but one step at a time.
we'll get there.
It's alive. The page is
The
working.
page is alive. We follow back as well.
Yeah.
Much like our Instagram. We follow back pretty much everybody that follows it.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you guys next time on the Rabbit Hole.